Liverpool's search for defensive reinforcements has taken another turn, with fresh developments emerging in their pursuit of Marc Guehi. The Crystal Palace centre-back has long been on the radar of top Premier League clubs, and the Reds are now being linked more strongly than ever with a potential move. With questions still lingering over Liverpool's backline depth, this update could prove significant in the deal for one of the Premier League's best. Let's break this down in today's video, along with all the other Liverpool news from the last 24 hours. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. But first, Federico Chiesa was unsurprisingly frustrated at Arne Slot's decision to leave him out of the squad for Liverpool's Champions League phase games. Liverpool registered a 22-man senior squad for their 8 fixtures in the league phase of the Champions League, with Chiesa a notable absentee. Teenagers Ryan Umoha and Giovanni Leone were named instead, with the successful deadline day signing of Alexander Isak effectively ruling out Chiesa's hopes of featuring in Europe. That could still change. With UEFA announcing an alteration to their rules on Thursday, that means players can be replaced in the event of a long-term injury or illness. But in the meantime, Slot has praised Chiesa's response after admitting he wasn't happy with the decision to cut him from the squad. Of course, that is one of the most difficult things you have to do as a manager, he told reporters on Friday. For a player not to play, that's not always easy to tell him, but to not be in the squad is always more difficult. I just explained to him why we made this choice, and of course he wasn't happy with that, but I think he understood my arguments. Not to say that he agreed with them. He didn't tell me, by the way, that he didn't agree with them, but he gave the answer you want to hear from a player. He told me that he will be to help the team in the cups and in the league. And that's one thing to say, but I think he also showed this because he wasn't selected, but he worked really hard to be ready for the upcoming games. That is even more important than what a player tells you. As Slot notes, Chiesa has shown his impeccable attitude throughout a difficult year at Liverpool, performing when called upon, despite that rarely being the case. There will still be plenty of opportunities for the forward to impress, particularly in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, the latter beginning at home to Southampton on September 23rd. But he will need to harness his disappointment in order to contribute as hoped, knowing that Liverpool have other priorities when it comes to their attacking line. With Liverpool rejecting advances from Besiktas earlier this month, it is clear they are still relying on Chiesa, but he faces an almighty task to fight his way into regular contention. Now, in some massive Marc Guehi news, Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner has rejected a number of claims around Marc Guehi's failed move to Liverpool, including that he threatened to resign if he was sold. Glasner was widely reported to have told Palace chairman Steve Parish that he would leave the club if Guehi was sold on deadline day. That came after a £35 million deal was agreed with Liverpool, only for the London side to pull out after the initial 7 p.m. deadline had passed. Liverpool are now left to wait until next summer or January if their situation changes to revisit their interest in the England centre-back. But speaking to journalists on Friday, Glasner took the opportunity to present his side of the story. Crystal Palace fans deserve to really hear how it was. So many things were written, he told reporters at a press conference. Number 1, I never threatened to leave the club. Never. 2. At the end of many discussions, the chairman asked me, Oliver, do you think we can manage the season if we sell Marc? I said, Steve, honestly, we can't manage it in the short term. If we buy a fantastic young 19-year-old with about 1,000 minutes in League One and sell our captain with thousands of minutes in the Premier League, we can't manage it short term. Then, if we sell Marc, we have 3 centre-backs, and if we get an injury to the back 3, it's very, very risky. I told him, if you want this scenario and you are fine with it, then sell Marc. If you don't want this situation, then we keep him. Then he decided to keep him. Big credit to the chairman. I didn't have to threaten anybody. There was no tension between me and the chairman. It was a discussion about football. Big credit to him for deciding against the money and sticking with the sporting project. Guehi has resumed training with Palace after scoring his first goal for England during the international break and is likely to start against Sunderland on Saturday. Big credit to Marc, who handled it very well, Glasner continued. We talked on deadline day, and we talked the day after deadline day when he was already in the England camp. It was honest talks. He will remain our captain as long as he's here. He's a great player and personality. The truth is what I told you now. Palace fans deserve to know how it is Liverpool's interest will not end, however, with the player into the final year of his contract, and therefore available on a free transfer in the summer. The Telegraph's Chris Bascom reports that the champions expect Guehi to join at the end of the season, though there will be no new approach in January as things stand. Injuries may change this, of course, but at this stage Liverpool are confident of beating other clubs to his signature on July 1st, having already agreed personal terms and conducted a medical on deadline day. Arne Slot told reporters on Friday, "It's a pity, not only for us but also for the player. Let's see what the future brings for him and for us." In other news, Curtis Jones has been ruled out of Liverpool's trip to Burnley, having previously been expected to start, with Arne Slot providing a fitness update. Jones could realistically have been considered to start as part of Slot's midfield at Turf Moor on Sunday, having not been called up for England duty. But it transpires that the 24-year-old will now miss out entirely, having picked up a new injury in the 1-0 win over Arsenal before the international break. Speaking to reporters at the AXA training centre on Friday, Slot revealed that the squad was otherwise near fully fit. "We trained today for the first time with most of them. The non-internationals trained with the under-21s this week already," he explained. Curtis Jones, of course, I don't know if you knew, got injured in the last game, so he will not be available for the game against Burnley. But I think the rest of them came back without a problem, and that's not always the situation. Especially at the beginning of the season, where everybody comes from a different background, going to the national team where they then all of a sudden have to play 2 games in 4 or 5 days, which is always the biggest risk. In October, November and March, they are much more used to that program. So we are happy that they are fit, and again, compliment not only to the Swedish manager for resting Alexander Isak, but also the others, because a few others like Ryan Gravenberch only started 1 game, and not both of them. Jeremy Frimpong has recovered from a hamstring injury and was part of the small group of senior players working with the under-21s throughout the week. Meanwhile, Stefan Bajkatic is back working outdoors following surgery on his hamstring in May and is likely to build up his game time with academy football in the coming weeks. The biggest concern beyond Jones may come with Alexis Mac Allister, who was not 100% fit heading into duty with Argentina, but still played 90 minutes in their 1-0 loss to Ecuador on Tuesday night. But with Slot having more options available at right back, the likelihood is that Dominik Szoboszlai can join Gravenberch, rested for the Netherlands, and Florian Wirtz in midfield at the weekend. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. We post all the latest Liverpool news every day, so join our fast growing community so you never miss out. Thank you, I'll see you in the next video.